Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 12th chapter, text number 11, in the matter of Vrtrasura's glorious death. Purusha Prakriti Vektam Atma Bhutendriyasaya Saknuvanti Asya Sargadau Navinayad Anugraha. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation. The three Purushas, Karnodakshai Vishnu, Garbhodakshai Vishnu, and Shirodakshai Vishnu, the material nature, the total material energy, the false ego, the five material elements, the material senses, the mind, the intelligence and consciousness cannot create the material manifestation without the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. As confirmed in the Vishnu Purana, Parasya Brahmana Shaktihi Tatedam Akilam Jagat. Whatever manifestation we experience are nothing but the various energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These energies cannot create anything independently. This is also confirmed by the Lord Himself in Bhagavad Gita 9.10. Maya dakshena pakati suyate se characharam. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and is producing all the moving and non-moving living beings. And only under the direction of the Lord, the Supreme Person, can Prakriti, which is manifested in 24 elements, create different situations for the living entities. In the Vedas, the Lord says, Madhyam Mahimanam cha Parabrahmeti Sabditam Vetyasi Anugrahitam me Samprashnahe Vivrtam Ridi. Since everything is a manifestation of energy, I am known as Parabrahman. Therefore, everyone should hear from me about my glorious activities. The Lord also says in the Bhagavad Gita 10.2, Aham Adi Devanam. I am the origin of all the demigods. Therefore, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the origin of everything, and no one is independent of Him. Srila Madhvacharya also says, Anisha Jiva Rupena. The living entity is Anisha, never the controller, but is always controlled. Therefore, when a living entity becomes proud of being an independent Ishvara or God, that is his foolishness. Such foolishness is described in the following verse. Purusha Prakriti Vektam Atma Bhutendriyasaya Shaknuvanti Asya Sargaudau Navina Yad Anugrahat. The three Purushas, the material nature, the total material energy, false ego, the five material elements, the material senses, the mind, intelligence and consciousness cannot create the material manifestation without the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we are reading in this part of Bhagavatam, Vrtrasura's glorious death. Last few verses we were hearing how Vrtrasura, though he is in the body of a demon, is actually a devotee. In his previous life he was King Chitraketu. He was cursed by Mother Parvati and he got the body of demon. So, in the early verse we read how Vrtrasura is desiring to die and he is urging, he is telling Indra to throw the thunderbolt which was made according to the instruction of Lord Vishnu. Because he was confident that once the Vajra, when the thunderbolt is thrown on him, he is going to die and he is going to be victorious because he is going back to Godhead. Because that weapon was made according to the direction of Vishnu. So, and last couple of verses we are seeing that how he is preaching that nobody is independent in this world. Only Lord is independent. We are all dependent. So, that is our position. So, in the previous verse, in the translation also it was written, no one is independent. Actually, and in today's purport, Prabhupada begins this, as confirmed in the Vishnu Purana, parasya brahmana shakti tathedam akilam jagat. Whatever manifestation we experience are nothing but various energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So we understand from Bhagavatam, from the Vedic literature, that Lord and his energy is actually equivalent to the Supreme Absolute Truth. So whatever is happening, all these energies, then Prabhupada writes, these energies cannot create anything independently. So energies are there, like it is mentioned here, the 24 elements, including the three Purushas, Vishnus, metal nature, metal energy. On their own, they cannot do anything unless Lord wills. Cannot create the metal manifestation without the direction of the Supreme Personality of God. So, Lord, Krishna, Vishnu, unlike they will, unlike they direct, nothing can happen in this material world. It's all happening according to their direction and according to their supervision. Then Prabhupada immediately quotes from the Bhagavad Gita, this famous verse. This is also confirmed by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita, Maya dakshena pakati suyate se chara charam. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and is producing all moving and unmoving living being. Only under the direction of the Lord, the Supreme Person, can Prakriti, which is manifested in 24 elements, create different situation for the living entity. So that's why we are hearing that maybe now I was victorious because first he threw his weapon, Vrtrasura, which Indra easily encountered and attacked that weapon. So he is waiting for thunderbolt to come on him, but now Indra was not very confident what will happen now. So that's why in the earlier purport also Prabhupada was writing that Indra, though he is a Devata, but actually is like behaving like a Asura. Devotee has full confidence that only Lord can protect him. Rakhe Krishna mare ke, mare Krishna rakhe ke. If Krishna wants to protect somebody, nobody can kill him. And if Krishna desires to vanquish somebody, nobody can save him actually. So this is the position. So, so this verse 9.10 Bhagavad Gita is very important actually. Where generally people say everything is happening according to the nature, material nature and all. But material nature on its own cannot do anything. Maya dakshena, under my superintendence. So there are many references in the scriptures also. The first verse of Bhagavatam, Janmadhyasya yatho anvayat itaradat charteshu abhineshu swarat. Actually, Prabhupada beautifully translates the first sentence of the Bhagavatam, this first verse of the Bhagavatam also. O my Lord Sri Krishna, son of Vasudeva, O all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I meditate upon Lord Sri Krishna because he is the absolute truth and the primeval cause of all causes. Just like in the last purport also, Prabhupada ended the purport. He began with the verse, this is confirmed in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Ekale Ishvara Krishna Arasabha Bhritya. Krishna is the only master. We are all servant. And in that purport, small purport, Prabhupada last Thursday we heard, Prabhupada is quoting Ishvaraha Paramaha Krishna Sachidananda Vigraha. He is the Paramaha Krishna. He is the Supreme. And Sarva Karana Karanam. He is the cause of all causes. So this Bhagavatam first verse is said, He is the absolute truth and primeval cause of all causes of creation, sustenance and destruction. Janma Adi. Janma means creation. Adi means maintenance, dissolution. Of all manifestation, and is independent. He is Swarat. Lord is independent. He is not dependent on any cause. He is totally independent. He is Swarat. He is directly and indirectly conscious of all manifestation. So he is directly and indirectly he is aware of what is happening. So that is the Supreme Person, not that many people claim, Prabhupada always says, correct? I am Bhagavan, I am God. They can't figure out what is happening in their own body first of all. What they can figure out what is happening elsewhere, outside their body, out the universe, nothing they can find out. So, Lord is fully cognizant, is fully independent, and is directly and indirectly involved in all this material manifestation. This is the first verse of Bhagavatam. Prabhupada always mentions in many places about the scientist. We were hearing last couple of days also. So scientists, they speak according, they get Nobel Prize, award, recognition, all these things. But actually they are all dwelling on the only mundane platform. They have no access to our subtle body itself, how mind is working, how intelligence, how consciousness, how ego is working, they can't know. That's why Prabhupada was always heavy on scientists, and he mentions this in many places. Just like in the University of California, a big Nobel Prize winner had come, and he was speaking his created theory. He was telling life comes from chemical. Life comes from chemical. His philosophy was that, and he got Nobel Prize award and all these things. And Prabhupada also mentioned one of his disciples, Sridham, Swami was there. So he did doctorate in chemistry. So after the lecture, the disciple, he went to the professor, he said, if I give you all these various chemicals, can you produce life? Immediately that Nobel Prize winner, he says, no, that I cannot say, that I cannot do. So the Prabhupada always used to say, they're all like teachers, but actually what they're doing? They're cheating the whole world actually. So this is how it's happening. And people are also carried away by these. But we understand from the scriptures that nothing can, he says that I cannot say. Actually, it is not a fact. Because lives come from life. We all have read that book also, correct? Many of you would have become devotees by reading that. Otherwise, we are all in our own academic studies and reading all the science given by these professors. When you read Prabhupada's book, actually different perception, we get different understanding of what it's all about. Correct? So, and why? Because Krishna also says in the Bhagavad Gita, Aham sarvasya prabho mata sarvam pravartati. Very important verse actually, Bhagavad Gita, the Chatursloki Bhagavad Gita verse 10.8 to 10.11. Actually, if we read in that purport, small purport, Prabhupada fully quotes from Upanishad, Purana, this thing. So many things he's quoting actually. In small purport it was, 10.8. Aham sarvasya prabho mata sarvam pravartati iti matva bhajante man buddha bhava samanvitaha. 10.8, correct? Aham sarvasya. Yes. Translation is also very interesting. Prabhupada translation and purports are very eye-opening actually. Though we don't understand Sanskrit like that, when we read its translation and purport, we get a good hold actually. So the translation is, I am the source of all spiritual and material world. So Krishna, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava, he is the source of all this, what is happening in this material world, also in the spiritual world. Everything emanates from me. Matta sarvam pravartate. Pravartate is emanates. Everything is emanating from me. The wise who know this perfectly. Iti matva bhajante man. Iti matva, one who knows, wise who knows this. Bhajante man. What he does? Engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. Buddha Bhava Samanvita. Buddha means intelligence. Bhava Samanvita, with sentiments. Sentiment with spiritual sentiments actually. So if you read this, you should read this purport again. Prabhupada is quoting from different Puranas, Upanishad, small purport only. Is many verses is quoting here. So that's why Prabhupada was a little heavy on the scientists, because they all go according to their own understanding, their speculation, their concoction. And they like in the scriptures also we understand this, who is that? Who has to agitate the mind? Muni, no? Munis. Because they have to come out with a different philosophy. They have to come with something else, what the predecessor has given. So that way we cannot understand the supreme absolute truth. We have to understand, like we read also, we have to hear about Prabhupada, we have to hear about Krishna, what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. That's why we have to read, we have to hear, we have to associate. Then only we'll come to know about Lord. And very simple is Krishna is speaking Bhagavad Gita. So when we take Krishna's Bhagavad Gita as it is, Yatha Roop, then it is perfect. Because he is the supreme person, he knows, he is the creator, what is the purpose of everything he knows perfectly. So we should take this message as it is. Otherwise, we will be misled. That's why Bhuda Bhava, those who have intelligence, Bhava Samanvita, who have understood Krishna and who is Krishna consciousness, like that Prabhupada writes. Buddha Bhava Samanvita. Bhava, it's a preliminary stage before love of God, correct? In the 9th stage, Bhava. Bhava means sentiment, spiritual sentiment actually, with understanding. Not that we are just imagining something. No, that is not correct. That is not a correct understanding. Though, that's why it is said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita also, Sthavara Jangama Dekhe Na Dekhe. So that also very nice actually. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he was speaking with Ramananda Raya, he was quoting this verse actually. Very nice, this chapter also, 8th chapter. Madhya Leela, I think, yes, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So there it is said, the Mahabhagavata, those are advanced devotee, Mahabhagavata, the advanced devotee suddenly sees everything mobile and immobile. Sthavara and Jangama. Sthavara means moving, Jangama means is not moving, inert. So a Mahabhagavata, the advanced devotee, suddenly sees everything mobile and immobile, but he did not exactly see their forms. So what he is seeing? Rather, everywhere he immediately sees manifest, everywhere he immediately sees manifest the form of the Supreme Lord. So he is not seeing the living entity is moving, not that. Whatever he is seeing, because everything has emanated from Lord. So Prabhupada gives many examples for this. Just like you see a nice building coming up, skyscraper building, tall building coming up. So generally, Aam Admi like us, we will be fascinated, correct? That's why people go to all this, wherever the big buildings are there, particularly in the Western world. So, but a pure devotee, a Mahabhagavata, when he sees it's actually nothing but, what is that building, what is made of? Earth, water, fire, air, either. That's all. So Krishna says, these are all my separated energy, inferior energy. Bhumi, Apo, Analo, Vayo. So when he sees that building, actually he sees Krishna's energy, how it is beautifully. Of course, there is some intelligence is there. Some person is behind that building. But that intelligence also Krishna only is giving. So there is nothing but Krishna and Krishna's energy. That is the vision of a Mahabhagavata devotee. There are many examples in the scriptures. We read actually. So Prabhupada says, Krishna consciousness movement is not a sectarian, sentimental movement. It is a scientific movement. Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada always presented as a science. So if somebody goes through this vigorously, following this Acharya's commentary, then we'll get a correct picture, exact understanding of what this means. So, because we have to understand Krishna. The whole purpose of life is to understand Krishna. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna again and again he brings out this point. Because we have forgotten Krishna, we are turned away from Krishna, we have come to this material world and we are suffering. Krishna, out of his kindness, out of his compassion, he has come 5,000 years before and he has presented the message of Bhagavad Gita. So when we read, when we discuss, actually we'll be, then we can come to know the exact position of Krishna. Understanding is not again a sentiment. Many people we come across when you go for preaching also. We also have Krishna in my house, we also have a Radharani in my house. People say it like this. Parents are attached to their kids, they will always say, but Krishna is not that Krishna we are talking about. We have to understand Krishna in Tattvataha, in truth. Truth, how we can understand? Only from Krishna or his bona fide representative spiritual master. There is no other way we can get the message in truth. So, just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, though he is Krishna himself, is God himself, he also exhibited the Mahabhagavata symptom in many occasions when he was dealing with his close associate, correct? Just like in the Sikshashtakam also he says, Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravashaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam goinda virehena me. So, Yugaitam nimeshena, a moment. Actually, so Prabhupada explained there how not even a moment they will forget Krishna, the Supreme Lord. Whereas in our case, what happens? Even if you are in front of deity, even if you are chanting Lord's name, after understanding few things about the Lord's name, we are actually, our mind is not fixed there. Our mind goes here and there. Correct? Whereas, even a moment, they can't take out away from Krishna. That's why the gopis also, they criticize, they condemn actually Lord Brahma ji. Because Brahma is a wonderful personality, the first living entity, he created all the living being. But Gopi says, you have done all these things wonderful, but why you have created this eyelid? Because eyelid now and then it closes, correct? When it closes, you can't have darshan of Krishna. So they are in that stage actually. But we are all sadhakas, we are all trying to be on this path, long way to go. But see, what is our, we can vouch for ourselves. That's why Prabhupada says, correct? Nobody has to certify us whether we are advancing in Krishna consciousness. We can easily make ourselves. Maybe we can make some show and cheat others. It actually is not beneficial. So we should come to that stage. So these ecstatic symptoms are mentioned again in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. A few years we hear that when you reach that stage, you become stunned, you perspire, you are standing of hair, voice falter, all these things happens actually, the Ashta Sattvika Vikhara, correct? It is mentioned. So, we should not imitate at a premature stage, but at least we know what is this, who are these Mahabhagavatas. When we read, when we see their activities, they are not ordinary person of this world. They have come for a particular purpose. They have come for a mission, on the mission of the Lord, to demonstrate few things. So that's why, that's how we should understand. So, actually conditioned soul, we are all fools, we have come to this material world. That's why Prabhupada explained, correct? That's why we have to go to school, colleges, we have to get educated. But after getting education also, we remain the same fool. Because we don't understand about matter and spirit. Prabhupada always used to say, correct? Particularly in the Western world, in America, there are so many big universities. Even a lot of Indian students go for doing PhD, masters and all these things. Prabhupada used to say, but there is no university where they teach the science of Atma or soul. So without learning this, all other are null and void. It has got a place. We don't reject material education like that. But along with that, we should pursue the spiritual knowledge. What is this all about? whom we are, why we have come to this world, whether we are this body or soul. This is the basic thing Krishna begins speaking in the Bhagavad Gita. Deino asmin yatha de kaumaram yamvanam jara. So, deha and dehi is there. So that we should understand. Otherwise, whatever grand we make, it's all defeated. Rishabdev, in the 5th canto, beautiful verse, he mentions this, 5th verse, 5.5.5, all 5. Parabhavastavad abodha jataha yavan na jignasata atma tattvam. As long as one does not inquire about the spiritual values of life, one is defeated and subject to miseries arising from ignorance. So, we are all getting these miseries in this world. It's all due to our ignorance, illusion. That's why in the previous purport also Prabhupada writes, in last Thursday's purport, we are dancing according to the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, like a dancer. But out of ignorance and illusion, we think we are independent of the Supreme Will. So we are not independent, we are thinking actually. So this verse says, one is defeated and subjected to miseries arising from ignorance. Be it sinful or pious karma, be it sinful or pious, karma as resultant action. So if sometimes we come across a lot of pious people, a lot of pious activity will do good actually, they are accumulating good karma. But to enjoy that result of pious activity, again you have to take birth. This world is miserable world, dukkhalem ashashvatam. So that's what it is said. If a person is engaged in any kind of karma, his mind is called karmatmaka, colored with fruitive activity. As long as the mind is impure, consciousness is unclear. So that's why we just start as sadhaka, we start associating with this movement, we start chanting, reading Bhagavad Gita, associating with devotees. So what happens actually, slowly it becomes a lot of unclear things are there, our consciousness is still very dirty. But if we have faith in this and if we pursue this, as long as the mind is impure, consciousness is unclear. And as long as one is absorbed in fruitive activity, he has to accept a material body. So material body, actually, that's why Vrtrasura is telling, I am going to die. By my death, I am going to attend back to Godhead. Whereas you are going to be victorious, because it is Lord's will. But because of your victory, you are going to be in this material world only. That's why he wants to go back to Godhead. He is a devotee. So like that we should try to understand. Prabhupada has very nicely explained that human life is meant for inquiring about the soul, and we are not this body. See, again and again we are hearing this, correct? But it should slowly get into our consciousness. First thing, any bhakta, we go and preach, although we say we are not this body, we are a spirit soul. But we have to bring it in our day-to-day life. What we are, whom we are, what is our purpose. So, in another place it is said, so if you read about the glories of the Lord, that one of the verses which Prabhupada quoted, it says that we have to read the glories of the Lord. So 10th chapter of Bhagavad Gita is all about that. Prabhupada, that's why he quotes from 10.8, Aham Sarvasya Prabhava. And Aham Adi Devanam, the second verse, Krishna says, I am the source of even the demigod. And at the end of the chapter, in the 10.42, also Krishna, Vishtabhyam Aham Idam Krishnam. Very nicely, Prabhupada translated that also. But what need is there, Arjuna, for all the detailed knowledge? Because Arjuna wanted to know about Lord's opulence. Lord's opulence is, Lord is unlimited. His opulences are unlimited. Everything connected with Krishna is unlimited. So Krishna is concluding this chapter almost. At the end of the chapter he says, but what need is there, Arjuna, for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support the entire universe. With a single fragment, Vistabhyam idam Krishnam ekam shena sito jagat. Ekam shena. With a single fragment of myself, I pervade and support the entire universe. So like that, Bhagavad Gita, so Prabhupada, he was very heavy on the scientists because they were all professing their own philosophy actually. They were very intelligent, very smart. They should bring out some point and they used to get this all. So Prabhupada gives many examples. With this I will stop. See, just like Prabhupada gives the example, you take a lemon tree. You have a lemon tree, it produces so many lemons, correct? So the lemon is a citric acid actually. So one tree can produce so many lemons and this acid is coming out. So it's all by Lord's arrangement. Also Prabhupada says, correct, you keep a lemon tree here, next to that you keep some rose flower or something. So different thing you keep, different things come about. And with the use of the same earth, same that fragrance, same water, all these things. Who does all these things? So actually if we see the natures, how systematically it is working, day after day after day, if somebody is little intelligent, you'll question actually how it is happening. Just like sunrise is happening every day at 6:30. Not a single day it is off, correct? So sunset, all this. So nature is working so systematically, so wonderfully. But behind that nature is what Krishna says, I am the superintendence. I am there behind that. Without, so just like you have a beautiful car. Car will be lying there. Unless a driver comes and sits there, he drives, it has no value. Similarly, our body has value because the soul is there right now. The moment soul leaves the body has no value actually. Similarly, when Lord enters into this material world in the form of super soul, and he is making all these things move, happening actually. Otherwise, nothing can move unless Lord wills and Lord sanction and Lord desires. So all these things will become clear. That's what Prabhupada says. In another lecture he says that if you start chanting Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, the cloud, we are full of ignorance now. Slowly that cloud of ignorance will get cleared and we'll come to the correct understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the cause of all causes. So in the Bhagavad Gita also Krishna says, Vasudevam sarvameti samahatma sudurlabha manu bhaunam janmanante jnanavama prapaddate. So like that, we have to take many births to understand all these things. But somehow by our good fortune, by the causeless mercy of Srila Prabhupada, we have come in touch with this ISKCON movement through devotees, through books, through temples and so many things. So a different devotee would have come through different various sources. But the ultimate thing is to know Lord, to know who we are, what is our relationship, and we have to act in that way actually. Just knowing is not sufficient. Ekala Ishvara Krishna Ara Sabhabhitya. He is the Supreme Ishvara and we are all His servant. And we are always dependent on Lord. We may, see, just like if you want to achieve anything in this world also, we have to work hard, we have to endeavor, we have to try, all these things. This alone is not sufficient, correct? That's why in the 18th chapter Krishna says, the fifth factor is very important, that is the Ishvara, Daiva. So unless Lord sanctions, nothing can happen actually. So it's a very nice understanding of Vrtrasura, and we'll read more about that, how in the further verses also is talking more on depending on the Lord, how we are all dependent, we are not independent. So Bhagavatam wants to clear this. Otherwise, generally we think, a simple example, one more practical example we all saw a few years before, we had a COVID, 2020, correct? 5 years over now. So many people had so many gadgets, these private jets. Suddenly, one evening it's announced and you just can't do anything. We are totally dependent actually. We don't have any control. But we think that we are the controller. Particularly if somebody is very opulent, he has a lot of opulence and a lot of this thing at his disposal, energy at his disposal. He thinks, I achieved, I got everything. But simple example, we could not even move out of our place here. We could not go out of our temple also. See? This is how the material energy is so, it's very difficult to overcome this. That's why a simple principle Krishna again says is, Mam evai prapadyante maya metantarantite. We have to just surrender to Krishna and follow his direction, then we'll achieve the perfection of life. These are some of the thoughts. I'll stop here. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.